Victor. Welcome to my podcast, Trade Secrets. This is part 2. This is probably one of the most important episodes you're ever going to see. All I'm saying. Those of you out there who wonder about anything, you should watch this podcast. I have with me today Paula Salvatore, my friend. Is it Salvatore or Salvatore?
If you're going to Italy, it's Salvatore, but it's Salvatore.
Okay, Paula Salvatore. Now, Paula's been my friend. She's my competitor. She's the grande dame of studio management, amongst other things. But we're going to catch up and we're going to go through her studio journey from her first studio job. And hopefully we'll get through that because it's a life of experience is all I'm going to tell you, and fun. So in last part, which is part 1, we kind of glossed over, we talked about a bunch of things, community and everything towards the end, but what we didn't talk about was her first studio job. So she was working at Music Plus record store. And we alluded to the fact that she had met a famous piano player, an artist who would become an important person in her life early on. You can look it up, okay? But what we didn't get to yet, and we're going to talk about right now, is how did you get your first job in a recording studio?
Well, being at Music Plus,
Yep.
met some nice people, and I had taken off for a few months to work and go on the road with this musician. And then he came back one day and said, my mother wants to do the job again because mother was doing the errand girl stuff. I'm like, great. What else? And more bad news. So I was like, great. Now I'm unemployed and I got to go back. And I was kind of depressed because it was like a breakup. It was like the whole thing. I went over to Music Plus that very day.
And you'd already worked there before?
Yeah, I had worked there for a couple of years.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So it was hard to leave.
And where was
fun.
this Music Plus?
It was on Laurel Canyon.
Oh, okay.
And Ventura, right across from the CBS theater, right? Like there used to be a Vendome Liquor. Now it's a Trader Joe's.
Oh, okay.
And Music Plus, I don't know what became of it, but it was a pretty big store, really popular.
Oh, I know that Dupar's was on that corner.
Dupar's was right in front of it.
Dupar's was a diner.
But all the Toto guys came in when they were forming Toto. So many people, this late 70s, people were
Fun,
living
great time.
in Studio City.
Nice.
And the Steely Dan record Asia came out.
Right.
Star Wars album came out, and Saturday Night Fever had just come out before that.
How did the studio thing come about?
I'm sorry. Yeah, so being willfully only employed for about an hour, I went back to Music Plus and said, oh, no, I need to get a job. And he said, this girl just quit the studio, Kendon. I go, what does she do? He said, traffic. And I said, okay. Where was it? He said Burbank, and I called my friend, my good friend.
Was it like an ad on like a bulletin board, or
there's nothing like that? No, it was word of mouth. She was a friend of his that just quit.
Okay,
she quit, and she told him. So I called my friend Vinny Poncia, great producer, songwriter. Produced Melissa Manchester, produced Kiss, produced Ringo.
What were some of the songs that Vinny wrote?
He wrote "You Make Me Feel Like Dancing."
Great song.
He wrote "Oh My," and he wrote "I Was Made for Loving You."
Oh, beautiful song.
He's amazing talent, and he
still with us.
Coincidentally, I met him at a studio recording baseball game, and he was from Rhode Island, Providence. So he was like,
homeboy.
Took to me,
Yeah,
said,
homeboy.
I
Paula's
relate.
from Providence. She's from Jamestown, Johnston, Rhode Island. That's right. I knew that. So you find out about this job,
right?
And
I called Vinny.
Cold
and
call.
I said,
You called Vinny.
I was his friend, and I said, "What do I need to work at a recording studio?" Because he had taken me to the first recording studio session over at Sound Labs on Yucca, and he said, "Just 24-track Dolby." I said, that's good enough." So I got off the phone and called them, and someone answered the phone, and I said, "I'm looking for a job. I know 24-track Dolby, and I work for this guy and this guy." And they said, "Well, we did just lose someone." I said, "Well, I'm right around the corner." I kind of pushed my way in, which you could kind of do a little better back then.
Yeah. I know people still try.
They can't say email it.
People still try. And I'm like, yeah, just email me.
So I walked in, and they were all hanging out in the front office, and they said, "Oh, this girl, Althea Mathis, will see you." And she's very distinguished, beautiful woman, like very mature and everything. And she started talking to me, and she said,
All business, Althea.
yeah, she was definitely an inspiration too. And so she said, you sewed and you worked with a couple of producers, like as their assistant kind of. And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, but you really don't have a lot of experience in studios or labels. And a lot of girls have been laid off. And I just said, I pulled it out of the hat. I said, I'm completely trainable. I have no bad habits, and those other girls are going to give you attitude.
Did you ever? Now, Kendon, for those of you who don't know, Kent Duncan was a very famous engineer, mastering engineer. We all have a connection, Roseman, our beloved Roseman, and Paula and I all have a connection to this address in Burbank. It's 619 and 623 South Glenwood Place. It's now Glenwood Place Studios, and our dear friend Kit is the manager there now. But it was Kendon at the time, and Kent Duncan ended up doing work with Tom Hidley and Glenn Phoenix, and of course Glenn Phoenix and Tom. They all had Sierra Audio. Glenn Phoenix ended up being Westlake Audio. Kent was a great engineer, a great mastering engineer, and he had this facility in Burbank, and this is in the 70s. This is like 1970 onward, right? And maybe even in the late 60s. I'm not quite sure when Kendon opened, but there's so many crossovers with Kendon. I mean, we'll get to some stories with Paula for sure, but this was her first studio job. And one of the things that's so great about Paula is that she's one of the few people who really knows what I do. I mean, I'm still currently a studio manager. We're sitting in Studio 5 at East West Studios at 6000 Sunset. Paula is famous, is a legend in our world, in our career. And one of the things, we'll talk about some of that stuff and some of the things that happened to us in common. But so this job at Kendon, you start at Kendon, and essentially, I mean, are you a receptionist? I mean, what are you really doing?
I don't know what that meant.
Yeah, traffic is scheduling.
Yeah. So, no, I wasn't really ready for scheduling.
But that's what traffic is.
Yeah, I was just kind of whatever was needed, I was doing. Right. And then Althea got in a little accident, so she was going to take some time off. And there was another Paula. So they said, if you want the job, you have to be PJ. And I'm
Her
like,
name is Paula
call me
Jean.
Sal. I don't
Paula
care.
Jean. Yeah, call me anything. Yeah.
Give me a job. Call me anything.
Yeah.
I got that job that same day. So it was great. And so when Althea, and I had gone to AES in New York with Ken and Bill, because none of the other girls really wanted to go. And I wanted to be closer to Rhode Island because my sister had a baby. So I was like finagle my way.
Which Bill?
Bill Rogers. He was the vice president of Kendon. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was funny. Anyway, that's a whole other story. Anyway, so I came back and I was like, well, I'd like to apply for the manager. And he's like, nah. And then Paula said that too. And I said, nah. So all of a sudden, one day, enter Roseman.
Dude, so amazing.
And she
so
had
stunning.
her hair
Still.
back. She had her little outfit with the scarf around her neck. And everything's
Always elegant and
She
stylish.
walked in and I went, what?
Who is that? Yeah.
And
we learned a
sat
lot
around
from Rose.
A
Paul
round
and I.
table, and I used to just like watch her on the phone. And her famous words to me: "Do as I say, not as I do."
My mom used to say that. Yeah, that's funny.
I can see that. So we had such fun and such experience. It's the first time I think she ever lived in the Valley.
Okay.
And then
Didn't you guys end up being roommates for a second?
No, well, I was leaving town to get away. I had to take a breather, and she said, "Could I sublet your place?" Because I left for 6 weeks to go back to Rhode Island to nurse my broken heart. Anyway,
but this is before Kendon or after Kendon?
no, this is during Kendon.
Okay, during Kendon. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but Kendon was great. It was a lot of R&B. Johnny Guitar Watson.
Stevie Wonder did stuff there.
It was a lot of Norman Connors, stuff like that. But Quincy and Bruce Swedeen opened the first SSL console, I think, in Studio D at Kendon.
Oh, amazing.
Down the block, and they were doing George Benson, "Give Me the Night."
So Kendon was at 619 and 623 South Glenwood Place, but down at the other end of the block,
Yeah.
it became Encore later.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember that address. I think it's 650. I can't remember the address. But
621, maybe.
no, and we were 619 and 623.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
they were
that's right,
650.
621.
But much higher number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, and also Kendon had Artisan in Hollywood. There were multiple locations around LA that were part of the Kendon facility, and there were different studios.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Encore is still there, and it's owned by the Paramount people at the end, and Glenwood Place is still there. So this is good news that they're still running studios.
Yeah.
Artisan became a restaurant. So
I remember Dio came in there and REO Speedwagon. So a lot of those people were around when I moved over to Sound City.
yeah.
But so Quincy, okay.
No, it's okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Talk about
So Quincy Jones was amazing, and I had a chance to go to the anti-nuke concerts in New York City, Madison Square Garden. Look it up. And
It didn't work.
what happened? To
I
those
don't know. We had
yeah.
nuclear weapons. I don't know what happened.
I do. It was one of
Hopefully they're not
those-
going off. But
those raise money for awareness.
Yeah.
And so I, I talked them into letting me go because I would be backstage and hanging out. And they said, write a report. So with every artist that I spoke to, there was many of them, I told them about Kendon, That was like my last
Good girl.
closing words. And when I came back, they liked it for the newsletter. And they said, we like it so much, we want you to interview Quincy. And I'm like, yeah, right. I never interviewed anybody,
No,
So
you're great.
one day she said, Quincy's ready. It was like 5:00.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, no. And so I went down with a pad and paper and started. What's the first thing you say to Quincy Jones? How'd you get started? It's
Yeah,
like,
dude. Playing trumpet in Paris.
Well, he brought up Billie Holiday. I'm
Oh,
like,
I know.
This is like the history of music right here.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen that movie where it shows Quincy as a young man in Paris?
I think so.
And Billie Holiday's in Paris.
Yeah.
And about a lot of what, I don't know if you talked about this when you interviewed him, but a lot of what they talk about in these movies is the lack of racial barrier in Europe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
America
it
was
in
America was
France,
going through
in
it
Paris.
still. Yeah, America's probably still going through it, but was really going through it then. And a lot of the musicians, like I remember Quincy talking to Ray Charles, going, "Man, you got to get off the Jim Crow circuit. You got to come to Europe."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
he
mean?
was
So
ahead of
Quincy
his
was
time.
young,
Yeah.
way ahead of his time.
Young, good looking, young, gifted, and black.
Young, gifted, and black. All good.
Isn't that Nina? So.
So you interview Quincy, and now
Interview
you feel,
Quincy,
and so
yeah.
now you're Barbara Walters.
Yes, and I remember what it took. It took like 3 hours, and I was marveling because, he said he produced Leslie Gore. It's My Party.
Great.
Someone, songs we grew up on.
Yes, yeah, great.
Little kids.
I'm sure he enjoyed talking to the beautiful young Italian girl.
Well, he was quite the charming man.
Very charming. Up until the end, a charmer, for sure.
Yeah. So that was like a long time I knew him. Thank God and stuff. And there's a whole story. Quincy and trying to I was going to the Grammys. He kept aware of it. Then he wanted to talk to the guy. So it was a
Are we
nice
allowed
little
to say
story.
who this artist is? Let's just say it. Let's peel off the Band-Aid. It's part of your life.
Yeah, who cares? He's happily married.
It's Michael
everything.
McDonald,
Yeah.
who we love, what American treasure, such a talented musician and vocalist, been happily married for a very long time. And he just wrote a great book, actually. And Paula's got a section of the book for sure. But
Yeah,
it was
I got a little. So that's why
it was a part of her life. And so what happened at that time, the Doobies and Michael were hugely successful and went to the Grammys. Now, what
They
was
were
Quincy's
for best song, best
song? So
about
what was
4
Quincy's
awards.
involvement with that?
It wasn't. It was just me telling him about it.
Oh,
And he
okay.
said, "Oh, good luck, man." Yeah.
Oh,
Good luck to
but
your
didn't
guy.
they want to hire him?
Well, after he walked away with song of the
Well, that's a
record
funny
of the
story.
year.
Let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about
well,
that.
anyway, so Quincy was, talking to me about not being, he said, you really want to win when you're up for a Grammy. That's the main thing. So I just brought up that I was going with this guy, and he said, "Oh, I don't know him." And I said, "Well, he's in this group," and he's like,
And they're up for Song of the Year.
and I said, "Well, you did cut one of his songs on your Sounds and Stuff Like That record. Because I
What was
was
the
in a
song?
record
What was
store.
this? What was the song title that he?
It was he cut a jazzy version of "Taken to the Streets,"
Oh, nice. That makes
and
sense.
he's like, "Wow, whoa!"
Did Michael Wright take it to the
Oh
streets?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
sing him, yeah. And so the one thing good is whenever they show like Yacht Rock or anything else with the Doobies winning the Grammy Award, I have a little minute, a second cameo.
You're on camera, right?
A
Yeah.
second.
Dude, you were so young. You're beautiful now, but you were young and gorgeous.
It
You know,
was
the
fun.
camera's
It was
going to
a
find
highlight.
you. You know what I mean?
Especially like for my family in Rhode Island and friends going, "Hey, how you doing?"
Dude, it's
It's
so
funny.
crazy. So, but Kendon, that was the first studio.
Yeah,
gig.
so Kendon was a really great experience. Everybody was really friendly. And then with Rose, it was just a bunch of laughs. And, she ended up I ended up coincidentally wanting to go away for a while just to get away for a minute. And she sublet my apartment. Then she moved into an apartment right next door.
Oh, cool.
So we were kind of on
Neighbors.
both sides of the thing. So
Oh, nice.
that was great. And then
When did you leave Kendon? What year?
when did I leave Kendon?
Yeah, what year did you leave Kendon?
Probably sometime in late '80, because I went back to fashion.
That late, huh?
Yeah, I went back to fashion. My friend had an Indian import clothing store down. He was from Boston. I worked with him in Boston while in college, and so he was down at the Mart building.
Where's that?
Clothing Mart building, 9th Street. or
Oh,
something.
downtown LA,
Yeah.
the garment district.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I was stuck in a room with a bunch of clothes. Nice Indian import clothes, but I was like,
Yeah, you're
selling
much
to
more
women.
social
I'm like, this
person.
isn't me. These,
Yeah, you're a
like-
social. I mean, you're an incredible seamstress, and she's
Yeah.
actually helped me and made stuff for me. But and you're
Yeah,
so talented. But
it was kind of, and the last time I drove home, there was a fire on both sides of the freeway on the 5, and I had no air conditioning and was low on gas. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
So I went to an AES show, and I saw Gary Lubo, rest his soul. He was an engineer with REO, Speedwagon, all that. And he said, hey, they're looking for someone at Sound City. And I'm like, I had been there before because Keith Olsen came into Kendon. He said, you got to really hear these speakers at Sound City and stuff at Wasburgers. And so, but I didn't get the job
Sound
then.
City still exists. It's in Van Nuys.
Yeah, Sandy.
Yep. Shout out.
And so I went down there and talked to Joe. Rick Springfield was on the radio as I was driving in. I'm like, wow, this is a cool song. And there it was. They said, we have some success. And, so you could work the 4 to midnight shift. So
4 to midnight. So you're working traffic, working the phone 4 to midnight. Who worked in the daytime? Who was the manager in the daytime?
this girl, Anita, she was the
Okay.
manager. And then she left and they brought in Dwayne Scott for a while, but he was busy producing bands and stuff. So I said to Joe,
let me do it.
I got to come in early. I can't do
let me do it.
do the work I'm doing. So, that worked out, and then I became manager there, and it was
How long were
it
you a
was
manager at Sound City?
9.5 years. Yeah, it was all
I mean,
a lot
Tom
of
Petty.
a lot of more REO records, and
REO.
Dio and Warrant and
Tom Petty, too.
and
no?
Rat and Tom Petty, of course.
yeah.
Yeah. And then of Traveling Wilburys and
There is a documentary called Sound City,
yes,
and
there
we'll
is.
talk about Paula's involvement in that.
Yeah.
But that documentary, thank you, Dave Grohl, for
Yeah,
doing that
thank you, Dave
documentary, shines a light on that studio and how important that studio was in music culture in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And Nirvana did their first record there, of course.
it's
Which,
already like 12 years old, that movie.
yeah,
It's crazy.
That doesn't surprise me.
So for a lot of the college kids and stuff, they were only 12 or 10,
Yeah, check out the Sound City
Yeah.
movie. It's great. Not only is
Yeah,
Paula in it,
Good
she's
rock music, all the bands.
I mean, like you said, they talk about it's just the music of the time. It's just
yeah.
a moment in time.
Thank
all
you.
of
Yeah,
our lives.
We book time.
We do book
moments in
time. So hotels with technology, studios are like that. They're very unique environments. They're very special. Artists are sensitive, and you're in a situation where you're safeguarding an artist. Basically, you're just protecting them and providing them a place where they can work where nobody will bug them. But it becomes like a family for the time that the people are there with you, and you get to see
Oh,
people in a
dear.
time when they're really happy.
Yeah, and you know what? They're really creative. They're really more, they're not going to be coming out the hallway getting applause. They're not running to the backstage.
Right. It's private.
So they're more vulnerable.
Yeah, they're more vulnerable, and they're also more at ease in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Because they're in a safe place. In a safe. And our job, to this day, every day, is to basically make sure the artists have everything they need and kind of get out of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true, and it is a unique
It's a trust
job.
thing.
And it's a unique that, me, Candace, and Rose, we stayed in the same business. We got in, we never left, and we kept kind of each other going.
Dude, I learned so much from these women.
Stay.
Oh my God, I learned so much from these women. I mean,
No,
Paula, throughout my career,
same
has been my
thing.
competitor, my friend. I don't know if you ever learned anything from me, but I learned so much from Paula and from Rose.
Thank
and,
you. You too.
And I think, except I have a hair in my mouth. I didn't learn that. Here we go. And, but it is a unique job. I always make people watch the Lobby Boys speech in the Grand Budapest Hotel because you've got the actor Ray Fiennes, and he's like telling the Lobby Boys, he's like, we know the guest secrets, and we take them to our grave, and it's a similar vibe where people are coming in, and like you said, they're vulnerable, whatever's happening in their life, whatever's going on with them musically as a band.
This is their off time, which has to be their on time.
It's their creative time
to create. Yeah. So
do you need to switch cameras? Are we good? Okay, good.
So
that's Nate behind the
anyway.
scenes. He's badass. Everybody, he makes it all happen. He's a monster. He's so talented.
Yay.
Woo! Black Velvet. Anyway, but so the Sound City years, that's where you really honed your skill. That's where you learned how to book time. You learned how to deal with artists. The crazy,
invoice,
running a
was-
business.
Was a carbon paper,
There were no fax machines, hardly even.
Well, there was
no internet.
What would they call those machines?
Mimeographs.
No, the other one was a telex.
Telex. Yeah,
Was it
telex. Well, no, are you talking
No.
about like IBM, like copiers?
Well, sometimes like someone from Europe had to send you a note. Was it a telex?
I think it's telex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no...
Because I remember I got one and Kent went walking into me, so you got a telex.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Western Union telegram.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But you got to remember, this is pre-internet. This is pre-cell phone.
Pre-computers.
Pre-computers. Well, in the 80s you had computers, but they were the size of
We
this
didn't.
room. Yeah, we didn't. But so everything we did, Paula and I both, and Paula had, I'll never
Was by
forget, she had a
phone.
massive book that had the schedule in it, had the studios in it, and we used a pencil because there was a lot of erasing going on. I still have used erasers all the time. But you're filling in the schedule, and then you had another...
You had to post it somewhere.
Yeah, I had to post it somewhere so that the staff could see what their schedule was. So what we do is we run the business for the owners, and I still do that to this day. We schedule the assistant engineers. We interface with the artist and with their managers and the labels, so we got to get paid. We book the time, schedule the time, get the setup information for what they're doing in the session, get the billing information for how we're going to get paid. And then we put whoever we think. A lot of the part of the job that's important is knowing your skill set of your staff and knowing who best to put on what type of session.
That is the secret, too, of who to match together. It's a matchmaker thing. And when you got it down and it works, it's great.
Yeah, which also this means that your assistants all have to be really, really good because we rely on them so heavily. So now Sound City, how did... watch the movie, but she was there for what, 9 years?
Yeah, 9
So
and a
we
half,
can't encapsulate 9 years into 10 minutes, but
Yeah.
check out the Sound City movie and you'll get a gist of Paula's Sound City years. Now what you're really known for, and now you're independent doing all kinds of amazing things, which we'll get to, but you managed Capitol Studios for over 30 years. Now,
Really?
she's only 14 years old. She was 12 when she started. But how did that job come about? How did you leave Sound City to go to Capitol?
How does one do that?
Someone calls. Hey, no, what happened?
Oh, this is funny story. Well, Joe said, we're going to replace that Neve console, which I'm glad he never did. The one that Dave Grohl ended up buying because the movie wouldn't come.
That's right.
So anyway, he's like, we got to replace it. It's only 26 inputs, not enough. I said, I know. He said, so take Rick Plushner from Neve out to lunch. And I said, we don't have the money to buy one. He said, well, just just take him to lunch. So
Take him to lunch and get him to give us a consult with no money, Paula. It's going to be great. You're going to love
that
it.
was the undercurrent.
Yeah, the underlying message.
So-
Get him to lend us the money to have a consult.
Lend us a consult.
Yeah, basically.
We'll try it out for you.
Yeah.
So I
That's another thing. Gear manufacturers are important to us, too. Super important.
Yeah. I made a date with Rick, and then he called me back a week later, and he
He always
goes,
had great hair.
"Would you?"
Great hair.
Yeah. He said, "Would you mind if I took a couple of people from Capitol?" I go, "Capitol what?" He said, "Well, the studios." I'm like, never been in them. They weren't on the map, so to say, except for the people that like Studio B, because A had the old quad console. It was so undernourished.
Okay, gotcha.
So I said, "Yeah, but I can't pay for them."
That's fair.
I got a one
You can't
person-
invite 4 people to lunch and expect me to pay. You know what I mean? Although I probably would. But still.
So made the lunch hamburger hamlet. Thank you, Van Nuys. And
Nice.
and I was just being funny and talking to them and telling them
Who
like,
was
about
it?
my
Was it
life.
studio people or label people?
It was Jeff Minnick.
Oh,
I
love him. Yep.
Smartest man. And it was the manager at the time, Charles Camelli. And
I hate to say
He had
Charles,
been
I've
there
never
10
heard of
years.
you, but
Yeah.
you're probably amazing.
so anyway, they were
Very
just,
few male managers.
they were just talking to me, and I was blah 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 blah, just telling stories. I didn't realize they were
Paying
scouting.
attention to you?
I never thought of that. So I was making
Did
them
Rick
laugh.
know that they were kind of looking at someone to?
Yes, but he didn't tell me.
Interesting.
And
Sneaky.
they were just cracking up. So I went back. Ellis calls me a couple weeks later. He goes,
Ellis Sorkin's our friend. He runs Studio
Yes,
Referral Service. We
he's the
love
best.
him. He started as an engineer. I saw him yesterday. Gave me a ride home. But he started as an engineer at A&M and worked a lot with Joni Mitchell and that artist at that time.
but he's the #1 studio referral person in the world.
Absolutely.
In the world.
In the world. Yeah, Studio Referral Service. Ellis Sorkin. Shout out.
So he called me. He said, "I heard they're looking for managers, Capitol." I'm like, "What?"
I just had lunch with
I'm
them yesterday.
so insulted. They didn't even mention a word.
I just had lunch with them yesterday and they didn't tell me.
Just a comedian all the way, And so then Jeff calls and he goes, "Nice to meet you, Paula." He goes, "Would you care to come lunch again, meet the Hamburger Hamlet?" And this time I'm bringing the VP of Capitol. Now Charles had left, so
Okay.
he brought the VP of Capitol Records. And
Who was that at the time?
Dave Lyman.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, fine, never telling me why.
I could do this.
So I was kind of half the serious and half still.
But you must have known why he was introducing you to these
I was
people.
seeing, but he didn't say nothing. So I was playing coy too. I was playing so then Jeff said, "Why don't you come down, to see the place."
facility. Okay.
Yeah, see the facility. And, I popped in my, 2 o'clock, not 10 a.m. I just popped in and the girl was like, I've been waiting for you all day. I came in from my day off. I go, no one told me I was meeting anybody. I just came to see Jeff.
She's going out to lunch with Jeff Minnick, who basically is hoodwinking her without her really realizing it. He's interviewing her for a job, and he brings the VP of Capitol Records.
Yeah.
What was his name? Dave Lyman?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
again, it's Hamburger Hamlet in the Valley, ladies and gentlemen. All the great deals are made. So what? It's not there any longer.
So I get down there and go to A, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, she's touring. She's touring Capitol
brand new
Studios now.
Studio A, beautiful, too clean. I mean, so
Too clean. What do you mean?
like too bright and white. It has never been used practically. They were doing a mix, and I'm like, and then Studio B, B had good acts, Dwight Yoakam and stuff. It was a Neve.
Yeah.
It looked like Sound City. They had a blue 8068 console. So
Nice.
I'm like, okay, I feel a little at home. Everybody seemed really serious and, professional, I would say. That's what it was.
Corporate.
Yeah, corporate. Thank you. A little different
Yeah.
from Sound City.
Yeah,
and
a lot different.
Yeah, and I started getting a little homesick. That feeling when you're little and you get homesick. So
I felt that way for 42 years. I
Yeah.
can't wait to go back to Charleston. I've been homesick ever since I
Good
got
for
here.
you.
Love you,
Yeah.
LA. Going back.
But
Can't
that
wait.
feeling, and I can't fight this feeling anymore.
Nice. Yeah.
I was there when they did that song. So
Who was some of the artists? Was it all artists on the Capitol label?
no,
or-
no, this was
And what year was that?
This was 1990
Okay.
in fall, and they were doing a mix for ELO.
That was
This
the year
guy,
I
Jeff
think I moved.
Glicksman.
Now I'm at what was Kendon then. While she's going through this transition, we talked about the connection to Kendon.
Yep.
I was at Take One working for my brother Steve at 619 South Glenwood Place. And in 1990, I made the transition and crossed the breezeway to Red Zone Studios, which was at 623 South Glenwood Place, because Kendon had closed and the landlord leased out the existing studios. One to my brother on the right for Take One, and one on the, well, I'll say left, but west.
One that was had a
that was
Harrison
Red Zone.
console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Take One had a Trident 80B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There was no console when Steve took over.
Okay, got
It was
it.
an empty studio.
Got it.
My brother
right.
Steve Smith, who's my mentor.
And Rose went back to Record Plant.
And Rose went back to Record Plant because now, did she do, when you went
To the
to
clothing,
Sound City, when you went to Sound City,
she went to
she went to
Record
Record
Plant.
Plant.
Yeah.
And this is the record plant on 3rd Street where my brother Steve and my brother Rick started. And Paula met my family before I ever came out. And they would take Paula. Tell that story. That's a funny story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said, our sister's not here, but Mother wants to take us to dinner at an Italian restaurant, and you might as well come
Paula's
in her
like
place.
the surrogate.
Yeah.
She stood in for me with my family before I moved back to LA.
And then when I heard you were coming out of town, I'm like, wait a minute. No.
This is so funny. So that's how long we've been friends and known
Yeah.
each other and loved each other and hopefully supported each other and everything.
Definitely.
But when you get to Capitol, and again, I've managed to have my career this whole time and not work in a corporate environment. Not really.
No.
I mean, Firehouse
you
was a
are
little
the
bit.
corporation.
Yeah, I am the corporate environment.
Candace Corporate.
But when you went to Capitol at that time, Rose is at Record Plant, which is rock and roll. It's rock
Yeah.
and roll. Heyday of the Record Plant. And you actually, I will say this, you breathed new life into Capitol. I don't know if anyone ever gave you credit for doing that. It had been an existing
Yeah.
facility since 1960 as
No,
Western.
since 1956.
Okay, 1956, right,
56
of course.
for Capitol.
Right,
Yeah.
and obviously Frank Sinatra.
And then he left at 60. And then it was
Right, he left
kinda
at 60
like,
and came
Yeah,
here.
a lot of Bob Seger, a lot of heart,
Well, but you
fun.
also had the same historic thing, which is you had Nat King Cole. You had all these very, very, very famous
Right.
artists from the 50s and 60s that were either on Capitol Records or who had recorded at
K-Star.
Capitol. Yeah, K-Star. You should look up who K-Star is. 2 R's, by the way.
K-Star and
2 R's, right? In Star.
yeah, 2 hours. And I think she sang at a baseball game. That was famous, made her famous.
Oh, okay. But what you did is maybe you brought a little bit, I don't want to say rock and roll, but you brought a hipper,
Well,
younger, hipper,
You know what?
breathed new life
I
into
told
Capitol,
Jeff.
I think.
I
I'm
told
saying
Jeff, I don't know if I'm
corporate enough.
yeah
Old
I
enough.
said all that, and he said, "We want what you got." That
Yeah, we
and
want what you got.
You know what?
We
The
want
good
that
thing
energy.
is, from the first time I met him, and I wasn't nervous. I didn't think I was being interviewed. I was still crazy, wacky, and made them laugh all the time. And they're like,
Upbeat.
because he had told me a lot of girls were coming down from upstairs going, "I want the job," and I'm
And
like,
they were probably just too serious. And I mean,
Serious, yeah.
again, I think one of the things that have been such an inspiration to me and you're so fun just as a human is that you're happy. You know what I mean? And happiness is contagious. I mean, if someone comes in and sees that smile, and sees that smile, this beautiful smile, how grumpy can you be? You come in and
Yeah.
she's beautiful and she's got
Yeah.
this great smile and she'd say, "Hey, what do you
and-
need?
and
How
I'm-
about what can I get for you? What do you need?"
Once I meet you twice, I'm hugging you.
yeah,
I can't help
yeah.
it.
And you're Italian, And who isn't going to love that? Who isn't
Yeah.
going to love it when they come in and they see this beautiful smiling face that
Same
makes them
here.
feel
Same you.
welcome? Well, thank you. But makes them feel. Sometimes I get a little serious because I get busy. I get serious.
Candace
But-
corporate.
Candace serious. But I think that you did breathe new life into it, and I know that you had the great opportunity. Met so many wonderful people there, and worked with so many
The
people.
first, I was looking at the book and I was going through the big book, flashing the pages.
We had these giant books. They were
Yeah.
custom made giant books.
and there was nothing.
Oh,
and
dude.
I started looking 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, because I almost said no to the job because of the hours. They told me 9 o'clock, and I was used to going in to South City 12, 1,
What?
2.
9 o'clock?
And
What?
I said, really? And
I come in at like 10:30 or 11, but
yeah,
I'm working at
I
home
did push it.
early.
Of course, we're
I'm just
always on the phone.
always working. Yeah,
Always
but-
doing it.
yeah.
So anyway, but Jeff talked me into it, and so did my father, my girlfriend I was visiting in
Well,
Europe. They all said, you better take the
It
stage.
probably had some things that none of us really had at the time, which is it had a little bit of security. It was a successful corporation. You knew you were going to get paid.
Insurance.
Insurance,
Yeah.
a 401k,
Right.
all these things that we were kind of young when we
were
started.
like
We didn't
you
think about
young guns,
that.
you think I'm fine. I'm
Yeah,
getting
I'm
paid,
good. Well,
No.
do you remember some of the early bookings that you did when you
Yes.
first started at Capitol?
Well, the main thing was, when you have a list of why we're at Capitol, of course you have insurance, all this and stuff. And then on that Capitol list is always meet Paul McCartney,
On what list? Where is this list?
Well, when the list in your head, I don't write.
I don't have that list,
I
but
don't
this is
write.
Paula's
But it was
list.
like the advantages, people tell you to make a list. And so,
Okay, the pros and cons.
So Paul
Okay.
McCartney was in my head list.
Paul, how formative were you? Hopefully you'll see this podcast one day and know how much we love you. We both love you. You're a treasure in this world of music. But
Yes.
for Paula, you were an inspiration for her job.
Yes. And I'm looking in and I see all of a sudden 2 weeks later, Paul McCartney interviews. And I stopped. It was like, stop. What's that sound? And I went into the tech office, and Jeff's working on tech stuff. And I said, I just looked at the book and I saw Paul McCartney. I go, does that mean he may come in? He goes, I believe so. And I said, thank you. And proceeded to go to my office and close the door and scream. Okay.
Paula's the only person that can actually get away with being starstruck because I try not to do that. And I always tell my staff not to do that. That's kind of a no-no, Paula. But Paula's so cool. And she wrote the book, man. So no one's going to give her any crap about it. But she, to this day, I think ultimately, I've mentioned this before in other podcasts, I talked about Rick Rubin and what makes him a great producer is that he's an ultimate fan. So there's nothing wrong with being a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
And Paula's a fan,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she just transferred that love of music.
Yeah,
and,
learn into hospitality and
Yeah.
emotion,
Yeah, that was its service.
And there it was, and
So she
that
didn't do
was
anything
in-
for 2 weeks except get ready for Paul McCartney.
right. It was kind of rough. I think it was my boyfriend said, "Are you wearing that to work?" I said, "Paul McCartney Day."
Now, I've never asked anyone else this because I haven't really talked to any other studio managers. I don't think I need to remedy that. Oh, I did talk to Rob
Oh, dear.
Goodchild. But did you, how did you go about getting work for the studio? Was there a lot of pressure on you to bring in bookings, or was there a lot of internal work where you could book people from the
No,
label?
the main reason that Jeff was saying, like, it's let's keep it external because we can make more money, and internal, everybody wants, rates, and that happens and stuff. But he's like, push for external. So, after that chance meeting with Paul, I was like, settled, So the first thing that came in that Jeff had booked, because he didn't have a manager at the time, was For the Boys with Dave Grusin. And Bette Midler was in it, and Don Murray was the engineer.
I love him. I just saw him.
Yeah.
I love
And they
him.
wanted to
Don
be
Murray.
in Studio B console, and they opened the walls because Jeff helped devise a system that opened the walls so Studio A and B could be used in combination.
Larger.
Brilliant. Cut so much work for that.
But I have a question. When you did that, and I've always wanted to ask you this. When you open that wall, then you're only really booking one room because A and B are open together, and you're doing a large orchestral date. You can't book the other room.
No, so you have to make a rate, including the other room.
Ouch.
Yeah. That's the thing, is because you're taken up unless you can book a mix in A,
Right, which
But anyway,
is-
they
yeah.
were there, and it was a while. James Caan was in Bette Midler. It was a good, and this woman came up to me, this beautiful 6-foot redhead, that I was like, she came up to me, she goes, "Are you the studio manager?" And I'm like, mm-hmm. She goes, "I'm going to get you a lot of business." She was Sandy DeCrescent, and she was the contractor
Oh,
of
I
all the
love
orchestra.
her.
She does John Williams, and she she was the ace contractor
Dude,
woman in
so
town.
many. So people don't realize how many women there are in the music industry, and I don't just mean in label jobs, but almost all the studio managers are women. Those of you who are men, we love you too. But the contractors, so many of the contractors, are women.
Yeah.
So many of the musicians are
Yeah.
women. So ladies, just know that there is an industry that you can flourish in, and it's the
It's
music
been there,
business, and it's
yeah.
always been there.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And
but
so she brought in, and then after that, that's when I met Al Schmidt, and they came in with Unforgettable, Natalie Cole, with
Amazing.
Dave Grusin, Tommy La Puma, Al Schmidt.
Oh, my
and
God.
we opened A and B up and recut all those songs, and it was amazing.
was that when she was doing the duets from the recordings of her dad?
Yes, she
Okay,
did two
yeah.
songs with her dad.
Yeah.
and Dave Foster called me. He goes, "I
But
need
he
you."
was already passed.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yes.
That's what I'm saying. So it's posthumously, they took recordings
Yeah.
and Natalie recorded, and what they did was, it was crazy cool. What they did was they would have duets
With
from
her dad.
tracks
Yeah,
from
doing-
her dad with
yeah.
them singing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave-
Technology.
Dave Foster said, "Can you get the 3-track of When I Fall in Love and Unforgettable and transfer it to 48 digital?"
Yeah.
Right? So they sent the tape over to me, and that's when I realized I'm holding this 3-track master
Oh, my God.
of Nat King Cole from the 60s, and I'm
Oh, my
like,
God.
how did I get my hands on this tape? And someone called the authorities.
Did you have Beatle tapes and stuff like that at Capitol?
No, most of them were in,
Abbey Road.
different places. But they had this tape, down in the EMI vault. I think it was in
And
Glendale.
Sinatra.
Oh, yeah, and Sinatra. So they were
Was it
all on
Sinatra?
2-track, 4 tracks and stuff. So we transferred it, and what they did, they put it so they could fly it in when they needed to. And
Oh, cool.
I'll never forget when I was in the hallway, and I had just met Al Schmidt and Tommy La Puma. I knew Dave Foster from Sound City, of course. And I heard the strings of Unforgettable in between, and
It's
it
so
was just
amazing.
so like this was Capitol in the 50s and 60s.
And
This
now
was
I'm
it.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it was my birthday, and
Aw.
and the whole family was crying, and I didn't know why, because he passed away on that day.
Oh,
Not
wow.
that, he passed away on the same day as my birthday. Isn't that weird?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
February 15th. Everyone.
So anyway, after that,
Her
we were
birthday's
doing,
February 15th.
Yeah. After that, we were doing TV shows like Dear John, all
But
these.
you really kind of, you and Rose inspired me, because what people don't talk about is, these were existing studios and we were lucky. So there was some clientele. But when she came, it needed new life, it needed new business. And so you have to bring in business. And so people, every single session you do,
Is
they have to be
potential.
perfect, but then it becomes the word of mouth that gets you the next session or the next gig, or someone that you meet on the session, like Sandy DeCrescent or Tommy La Puma or Al Schmidt, who became your longtime,
For 30
31
years.
years. Your I don't want to say tenant, because that is not a proper
No,
description.
no,
Al,
but-
it became Al's home.
Yep.
The house that Al built from that
Yeah.
point onward, really. But people don't tell you about that, like, because I remember looking at like a Music Connection, directories.
Oh, yeah.
And like talking to you and Paula, be like, "Oh, I'm really slow. Can you send me your overflow?"
Yeah.
And I'm still happy. I love all the studio people, Josh at
Yeah.
Sunset and Stacy at Conway and Fariel at Henson. We all
And
love each other.
the film and TV world got bigger
Yes.
and bigger with the music supervisors, people like Maureen Crows.
You
that
kind
did,
of became known. Capitol became known for scoring.
for scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are too here in
Yeah.
Studio One, but you really became, it was like, oh, you need to do strings, go
We
to
did like
Capitol.
City Slickers. Mark Shaman came in. There was
Oh, yeah.
so much
So
stuff. Randy
fun.
Newman. I was like, what? All this stuff was going on, and that was fun. That was like a world I've never seen before.
Yeah.
We did one thing with Tim Boyle at Sound City. We did like tour duty, and we did Dan Foley. He cut the theme to Roseanne at Sound City.
Oh, fun. Shout out to Dan Foley or to
Yeah,
Cheryl Foley.
yeah.
We love you. Have to get him on. He would be good. I should get him on the show.
Oh my God. Yes. He came in, he followed me from Sound City to Capitol and did 11 years of Seventh Heaven. He did The Secret Life of the American Teen
I
of
think
the
American Teenager or something.
American Teenager.
Not Secret Life of Bees. That's another
he
movie.
did Home Improvement. He did.
Oh, yeah.
He never stopped coming in.
What a talented
God
guy. We
bless him.
love, and Cheryl.
And
Love it.
the best thing about all these kind of people coming in and musicians and
You become
artists
friends.
is they meet in the hallway and they
Yep,
talk and they discuss.
collaboration.
That's what kept our business alive, was that thing. And that's the thing I get scared of. If you do it in your home studio, who are you going to go meet in the backyard? Your dog? It's like you don't
I'm
interact.
glad that you brought this up because we were talking about it this weekend, you and I, when we were at the AS show. And Paul and I both have the same point of view. We totally understand why people would have home studios and why they would want to create in home studios, and that's great. But one day, places like Capitol and places like East West where we're sitting, they could be gone, and the artists will never know these acoustic spaces and how much these acoustic spaces and the equipment affects and, I'm going to say it, makes the music better. But the collaboration that she's talking about, when Doug Rogers bought East West in '06 and rebuilt the lounges that you know now, the idea was a village community. So everybody has their own room, always. Everyone has their own private lounge. But then you're going to walk through to the kitchen, or you're going to walk through, and you're going to see a cellist is going to meet a hip-hop guy. And everybody collaborates. And at Capitol, I saw that, because other facilities I managed, even when she was at Kendon and when I was after Kendon at Take One, at that time, Take One and Red Zone were two separate studios, so they didn't really want a lot of cross-pollination. They were two different companies, and so they didn't really want a lot of cross-pollination. But what you did at Capitol, and of course Rose did early on at Record Plant, and I've tried to do here, is just create that environment where different musicians can meet each other.
Totally. And
that collaboration
it's
will
like
get
a
lost.
healthy competition.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you up your game when you're playing with the other professionals.
Yeah.
And always
Also
people
playing in historic room like Capitol.
Oh, and plus we had pictures on the wall of Frank and Dean. And I remember when Sting first came in, I met him and said, hi, welcome to Capitol. He goes, I've always marveled at this building from afar. I go, well, marvel no more. You're here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about that. You're a singer like Sting, and you walk down the hall, and there's Nat King Cole, and there's Frank Sinatra, and there's Bing Crosby, and all these people on the wall.
Judy Garland and Bobby Darin.
Like, oh, my God, know.
So that was good. And that was, they felt it. They felt it like it's like a musical White House.
Well, it's a vibe, and our job is to
and
create
the same thing here. When you walk in, you feel this artistry, art and history. I don't know. Art history.
Yeah. But well, you certainly. I mean, with Capitol, your name was synonymous. You almost couldn't say Paula without saying Paula at Capitol. It was like it was like the completion of your name.
Yeah,
it's Paula at Capitol. So. EMI owned them at the time. That was cool. You had all that interaction. You had different. I think Joe Smith became the president.
Joe Smith was the president when I got there. That
was the president
so
when you got there. Yeah.
A lot of presidents. A lot of.
Andy Slater. Was great. Amazing.
Hale Milgram. Gary
Gersh. Amazing. So some of these record company executives, if you were lucky, at A&M they always had it, where Henson is now. They always had Herb Alpert, right? So you had a guy who was a musician and a producer and a creator. Lucky A&M, lucky Henson. But you had that too at Capitol when you had Andy Slater and people like that.
Oh yeah.
And then it changed hands again. And Universal bought.
Yeah, then it got independently bought, and that
was
was
it
rough.
Polygram for a minute? Or EMI owned Polygram. I'm so confused about who owns who.
Polygram was separate. So it was just Capital EMI.
Polygram was A&M. Polygram was Henson.
Yeah, exactly. But still part of Universal.
Yeah.
So basically, yes. But Universal in 2013 bought us.
When were you independent? Independent. Like who were you, just owned by Capitol
right
Records?
Before that.
Or?
No, this guy from Terra Firma.
Oh, Terra
it was
Firma,
a
the
company
venture
out of
capital firm.
London. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was venture capital.
Yeah. I know
that was kind of rough for a while.
That was
And then Universal bought us, and then they started integrating all the systems and people, and it got more corporate, right? So it was.
Well, they own a lot of other studios
but the
too.
Studios,
they own Abbey Road now,
the
don't
studios
they?
always were busy.
Don't they own Abbey Road?
Yeah.
So Universal owns Abbey Road, good company there.
Yeah.
And they also own bought East Iris in Nashville.
Yeah.
which is great. So
Yeah.
thank you, Universal, for owning these great
Universal,
studios and taking
great.
care of
I
them.
mean, keeping the music alive, you know?
So you're at Capitol, and I mean, again, it was your name was synonymous with the studio. You
Well,
know,
the,
everyone knows who you are. They knew who you were. They knew if they needed something, they'd call Paul at
like you
Capitol.
are here.
Well, thank you. But they call Paul at Capitol, even, and if you were booked, and that's one of the things that's so wonderful about you, is so gracious that you are and so helpful that I learned from you, is that you just help people. We
Yeah,
both just want to
just-
help people.
Business begets business, I always say.
Yeah.
And you just hope your friends are really busy because
Yeah.
they have
It's a good
to refer
sign
it.
of the
Yeah.
industry to be busy. And also, too, you know, someone calls you up and, oh, I need a drummer. You know, Paul is Rolodex. I mean, I have 4 old physical Rolodexes, which now it's my phone, of course. But, you know, these experiences and working with these artists year after year over the year, the trust that develops,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
if they're in another city,
Yeah.
they call Paula
Yeah.
and they go, I'm in Tokyo or I'm
Yeah.
in London and I need a this or I need a that. And we just make it happen as the best as we can.
Yes.
You know, just
Yep.
whatever it is because that trust and that friendship is what keeps people coming back.
Right. And
You
you
know?
don't put people off. You answer them. You know, you just have to be really 150% diligent.
You're on all the time.
Yeah.
Working all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And you're representing your facility
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time. You know,
Yep.
even when we're buzzed at a convention. What can I say?
Yeah.
Try to
Yes,
carry
keep
carry
that
on
in
as best as
mind.
I can. But I learned so much from you. And when I first came here in the late 90s, and this was cello, and I shout out to Alan Sides, but I think he secretly was hoping I would fail. I think he's also secretly proud that I didn't. Thank you, Alan. But the people, like what happened for me was because my brothers had worked at the record plant and then I'd worked at Take One, you know, Jim Scott and Mike Klink and Love You So Much. And those people became clients at Take One, and then they became clients at Cello and still my clients. And the same for you, people that you work with at Sound City,
Isn't that-
people that you knew from Kendon.
Yeah.
Our community is pretty, I don't want to say incestuous, that sounds bad, but we all love each other. It's a big, giant
it's
family.
really amazing. And,
Yeah.
you know, you like Candace, I just stayed in. I didn't have kids and stuff.
Yeah,
These
none
were
of us had
my
kids.
big boy daycare, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we call a studio, call it Big Boy Daycare.
So we stuck in there, and when you're like, when I meet people and they're like, I'm not sure if I met you, I said, well, if you're over 30 and in the music business, you might have, you know,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
because that's decades and
Decades of our lives. I mean, this year for me, it's technically 40 years, but it might be 42. I don't know. I can't ever really remember. I think it's 40
Yeah.
in 2025 for me. And again, we're not going to age Paula about how long she's been in it,
No,
but
it's
she was
been
at
about the same,
She was
yeah.
at Capitol for over 30 years. So then you're in this environment, and it really is. It's such a unique thing that we get to do. I imagine it's probably similar to someone who books a venue, you know.
Yeah,
but
I guess so,
You know, maybe
yeah.
that's a similar kind of a vibe, like who, you know, if someone's
it's just that
booking-
they come back the next day.
Right,
know, yeah.
right. They're not doing a
They're not
concert
doing a
for
week.
18 months.
Well, some people
Well,
are,
for
but
us,
yeah.
they're doing a concert for, you know,
Yeah.
back in the day when we were so busy, back in the
Yeah.
cello years, and when you were in the heyday, I don't say heyday of Capitol, but you and I
Yeah.
would say late 90s, all through the 2000s,
Yeah.
you know, we have been really busy, you know,
Yeah.
until the mid 2000s, until COVID. I'll take it up to COVID.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
really, really busy. And you know, people always say, "Oh, well, you know, people don't have budgets anymore." I haven't found that to be true. I also haven't found it to be true that they stopped developing artists. I have new artists come in all the time. And one of the things Paula was saying to you earlier was, you know, you got to give people your time. It doesn't matter if the person is famous. If that person is all the other, I mean, yeah, it's exciting when they're famous. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But if the phone rings and the person on the other end of that line is got the money and they're booking time
and
either
they're-
independently or through a label, you give them the same level of service
Yeah.
because everybody makes a first record.
Right. They're investing
You
in
know,
you to
you
make,
two made a
make
first
me
record.
sound good. Yep.
Frank Sinatra made a first
Yeah,
record. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Frank Ocean called. God bless you, Frank, if you ever hear
Yeah.
this. I
Oh,
didn't have any clue who Frank Ocean was. He called, needed to do a vocal.
Yeah.
Jeff Ellis, shout out to Jeff Ellis. He has a room here. And I was like, Jeff, you're doing it, you know? And he says it was something else before that, but I remember the Frank Ocean thing. And you just business begets business,
Yeah.
but every session that you do is the potential for another session.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and also the people they bring in with that session.
Exactly.
It might be
a guitar
a
player,
guy
a
like-
trombone player.
like out of the blue, the girl that works for The Bachelor called me, and then she did something with oh man, who did Kiss from a Rose?
Seal.
Seal, sorry, Seal.
Sorry.
You should have did it like that. Yeah, Seal, and she wanted
Sorry, Seal.
the Bachelor.
I was thinking about him working out today for some reason. They were playing
Really?
Seal in the
Oh,
background
how
at the
funny.
gym.
Oh.
And they're playing Seal in the background at the gym. And then I started thinking about Heidi Klum. So this was wrong with me.
Wow,
I'm
so
like going like,
I
oh,
wasn't even
what's
gonna
happening? I'm
say
at the
him.
gym and I'm like, damn, I better work out harder. I'm thinking about Heidi Klum.
The guy was trying to woo the girl in The Bachelor, and he was
Yeah.
going to sing the lyrics to that. And meanwhile, they said, "We're going to have Seal in Studio A." And I said,
Oh, was he great? I haven't met maybe I've met him.
"He's kind of quick, you know." But I
he's
said, "Well, if you're going to have like Seal in Studio A, you should have like a really famous engineer on the session. Al Schmidt." So I go up to Al. I go, "Al, I got you on The Bachelor." He goes, "No, I'm married." I'm like, I go, "No, you're going to be an engineer.
Lisa's
just
going to
like
be
you are.
mad.
You're just what you're going to be, an engineer." And so that's what
So
happened.
he played an engineer as an engineer.
Yes.
On
in
The Bachelor show, The Bachelor, recording
engineering for
Seal.
Seal, singing the song. And
Oh my God, I love
So,
this.
and the guy and the girl come out of the studio after he was trying to sing, and they come out of the studio and they hear Seal in the next room.
Doing
So-
the song that he was just trying to
Yes.
sing. Oh my God,
Yeah.
you'd be
So-
looking at the ground.
So, yeah.
That's funny.
So something like that, and then she.
That's a hard act to follow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor
but
guy.
he knew, you know. And then the next year they wanted to do a champagne toast on the roof. I got them to do that. You know.
Okay,
So-
this is something you need to make happen for me. And you've got maybe hopefully 6 months. I've never been on the roof at Capitol.
Stop it.
I've never been
I
on the roof.
don't think so.
I never been up there. I don't think I've ever been up there. You know, and Steve Genowick, who we love, and there's a lot of people what we haven't talked about yet, is the people that have come up, I would say come up underneath us, but the
Yeah.
guys that we've worked with
Oh my God!
who started their
Well,
careers, Steve
the
Genowick,
recent
Pete Dell,
AES show,
all these
seeing
people.
my whole life pass before me. It's like,
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, and everybody's so
nice.
gracious.
Oh, so nice.
And we
But
don't
we were
even-
cool. We
don't even-
helped lift them up,
but
too.
we didn't know, like, you know, we just keeping them working. They're keeping us working. And,
Yeah.
But they say, you know, but we are talking to them and talking them through this or whatever, talking them into this.
Well, I mean, they're learning. They're learning from
Yeah.
people like Al or whoever they're working
Yeah.
with, the engineers that they get to work with, like you
And
said.
the interaction, and that's what we
Foster.
concentrate on.
It's called
was
fostering.
Etiquette.
David fostering. We
Steve-
David fostered it. Yeah, we
David
fostered it.
fostering. You know, etiquette in the studios and stuff that goes on that you don't, you know, if you only learning technical stuff, that's it. You know?
Yeah, you got to be a good hang.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be in a room with somebody. I mean, it's one thing to know all the equipment, but you really have to understand, again, back to the artist is, I always joke and say the artist is handing you their baby, like the song, right? Like, and they give it to the engineer or the producer and they go, here's my baby. Please
Yeah.
don't hurt my baby.
Oh,
Please
yeah.
please wrap my baby up in a nice blanket and make it sound better or look better, whatever.
Yeah.
Take care of my baby.
I wanna
So
give-
because
yeah.
it's so vulnerable for an artist to come in and to sing their heart out or to write a lyric or something, you know,
Yeah.
emotional like that. Anyway, so engineers, we love you. Happy to have helped
Yeah.
fostered your career.
And we still see them around, which
And
is
we
so
see them
great.
around, which is
I
great.
ran into so many people.
Now you, again, I started to reference, you know, the Rolodex, right? You are probably one of the most connected people in the music industry. I mean, you've got very famous managers in this world. You've got famous, you know, contractors, music supervisors, all the above. But you and I, we've worked at the hub of where all those people meet, where the artist manager meets, where the producer engineer manager meets, the producer, the engineer, the artist, you know,
Yeah.
all these people. So you have so many contacts, and I know that now you're doing your consulting, which is so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And you brought me the coolest project, which was the Earl Palmer documentary. Am I allowed to say that? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Which is such a cool story about such an incredible musician and drummer, and you got so many great people on that.
Yeah, I'm assisting in
Jim
that.
Keltner.
Yeah.
And now with your connections, no one could buy your connections. Like, it's one of the things, like when people say to me when I've run different studios
Yeah.
before I came here to cello, they'd be like, oh, can I have your contact list or your Rolodex, I said, you can have it, but it doesn't mean they're going to answer your call.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
It's still a challenge too, because people want to do what they want to do. You can't talk people into, but at least you could find out. At least you get maybe the answer quicker.
Well, but
if
you
the
know who to
answer's
call.
yes, no.
It's exactly about knowing
Yeah.
who to call. Like
Yeah.
you're working with those people, and they're
And
like,
you also know their personalities, so you know how to like
Yeah.
not.
well, like they
bug
say
them.
to you, get us in touch with Jim Keltner.
Yeah.
And set up
Yeah.
Jim Keltner coming in to
Yeah.
do this interview, and Paul's like, hey, Jim.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
The executive producer knew him also, but
Yeah.
I had more of a relationship with him, so I can kind of call him and say, "Hey,
Yeah, no, I'm sure that
let's-
sure that he did. I'm
yeah,
sure the
so people
producer
know.
knew.
So it's a lot about that, the relationships, and
It's that
calling
trust, and
Harvey
it's
Mason Sr.
Yeah,
and he's
that
like,
ease.
Yeah,
It's that
yeah.
ease of like, oh, it's Paula.
Yeah.
Oh, Paula
yeah.
needs me to do this.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that's
because she
nice.
always.
Let's hope so.
Well, it's true.
Right.
You always help everybody, and hopefully it's that way for me too.
Yeah. No, it's tough. It's tough. It's like I still want to work. I've completed 33 and a third years. I think I made a record at
I love
Universal.
that. Boom.
Yeah, it really worked out that way. So now it's like, being on my own without like, Paula from.
Yeah, I'm Candace from East West. That's
Yeah.
my last name, right?
Yes, yeah. So
well, I think
it's an
and
adjustment,
You're
and
doing so many amazing things. You're working with the LA Recording School, which is so great that you're doing.
Helping out
You're
with
doing
that,
this Earl
yeah.
Palmer documentary. I'm sure there's lots of other things. We get asked to do things. We'll be doing some things together. I'm sure.
And we help throw parties, which
Oh
is
yeah,
really,
we've done some amazing parties.
Yeah.
Leslie Lewis is really the one, though. We love her. And shout out to
Oh,
Leslie
she
Lewis.
does-
She's
she
an
does
amazing
events,
event
yeah.
planner.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I talked to Tom Camuso earlier today, and we were talking about doing another Les Paul Foundation event. We want to talk about that. But Paula is so, again, I just want to point out how connected you are. And you don't even really realize it yourself, and I'm sure I don't realize it about myself.
Yeah.
But how valuable you are to someone who needs a studio, needs a producer, needs an engineer, needs a musician, needs to go to another city. And we know people in Nashville, we know
Yeah.
people in Austin, we know
In New
people
York.
in New York
Yeah.
and London,
London,
you
yeah.
know. So, I mean, you are just a wealth of knowledge and connections.
It's nice to be a bridge, It's
Yeah,
just, but
absolutely.
you don't know how to always get a toll.
Hey, she's talking about knowing how to get paid. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about here. You're the bridge, but the bridge needs to get the toll. But I'm just really excited about the Earl Palmer documentary that you're doing, and what are some of the other
it's
things
not
that
me.
you're doing?
It's executive producer. He's doing it.
Who's the executive
yeah,
producer?
it's Ed Vidica.
Yeah, right. Ed
And-
Vidica, of
and
course. Sorry,
he's-
Ed. Caught it out there.
No, but and
Oh, you're
he's
helping.
this is just the beginning of it, but it's a world of new experience for me being with all these producers on and being in the conversation and seeing what it takes. And,
To make a movie, to make a documentary. And Denny
to make-
Tedesco,
yeah,
who we love.
Denny Tedesco's helping out.
Yeah, he's so great. We love him.
Yeah, it's really different. It's like I do miss the day-to-day crazy interaction with the staff, and that's why I come visit you.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
See, look,
okay.
you know what? I found out that this a lot of it's behind me, but everybody in all these studios, which I help out with LA Recordings, and I get to call them or visit them or book them.
Yeah, she brought me 2 days of booking. It was great.
Are so gracious and welcoming, and it's
Well,
like,
dude, you're a legend, truly.
well, you don't know.
I know
that,
we don't think of ourselves that way, but you are truly a
But
legend.
you think of it, and these younger girls coming up.
Dude, you're
you
a
know?
rock star. When you walk through the hallways of that school or you walk through the hallways of another studio, they're like, it's Paula.
Well, we know
Okay.
that from also going to Crass and just
Oh, so
seeing.
fun.
And a lot of guys go, I saw you speak with Candace. I was
Oh,
like,
my God.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're going to Crass. We love shout out to Crass. Woo, woo.
It's really gifted. And it's what you do with it after. It's like,
Well, that's what I'm
it's-
saying. There's
yeah,
so much
it's
you have
giving
so
back
much,
and
I want to mention that here is that you have so much to offer. I mean, the sky is the limit to the things that you can do with your connections and the people that you know. So if anybody's listening to this and has some crazy idea and
Yeah.
thinks like, oh my God, how am I going to do this thing? You could probably call Paula and she could probably help you figure it out.
It's like, it's like second nature. It's like being a good Italian cook. You just, you're gonna have to talk to me.
It's
Or
the
come
nonna.
come in my
She's
kitchen.
the nonna.
Come on, come on to my house.
Come on to my house. Nice, nice. Well, I love you so much. And again, I could talk to you for months, years. I think the part
We
three-
will. We will be talking
Yeah,
for the rest
forever.
of our life. We're gonna write books, write movies.
Oh yeah, you know what?
We're gonna
Hey, you know what I haven't
do,
talked about yet? I think I'm allowed to
shows.
talk about it. We're
Really?
gonna have our own show, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have our own show. if things come to pass with our dear friend Herb Trowick, and
Yeah.
the audio network is something you'll be hearing about, and Paula and I are going to have our
Yeah,
show.
that'll be funny.
That'll be fun. That'll be a good time. But thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on my
Thank you.
podcast. I
Thank
love
you
you to
for
pieces.
helping me wrap up my life in a little
Well,
package.
dude, I mean, like I said,
yeah.
it could be it could be a 6-year season, series on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Paula, yes, Netflix, yes. It wouldn't be called
You
Paula.
know, there hasn't been enough movies made about
What we
life in
do.
studios.
Yeah.
Now, there hasn't been
Dude.
a nice. It should be
Dude,
a
a
sitcom.
great series.
Yeah.
It could be sort of a sitcom, but there
Yeah.
should be a series about the shenanigans that go on in a
Yeah.
recording studio and
While-
just the normal
While
stuff that
making
goes on.
music, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The closest thing I think we did was Dave Grohl did Sonic Highways.
Yeah.
And that was
that's
cool
right.
because he went to different studios
Yeah,
and showed
yeah.
you different studios. But, Netflix, you need to either pick up Sonic Highways and put it back out there and continue with it. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
She's so
Add the
convincing.
new ones. Okay?
Yeah.
Or,
Or make some new
or make
stories.
another one,
We got a lot
from
of,
east to west.
A lot of good writers.
Yes.
A lot of good writers and a lot of girls like, Tina, Vicky, Zoe.
Oh, my God. So many amazing managers.
Fariel.
Stacy, I love her.
Yeah.
We love Josh. Steve
Yeah.
Burdick over at Westlake.
Trent.
Eli's at Paramount Morgan. Yeah, Trent
Yeah.
Slatton, who owns Stag Street. It really
Sandy
is
Skeeter's
a community.
Doing South
Yeah,
City.
she's still doing South
So
City.
there's so many girls with just multiple stories. So.
And boys. But yes.
And boys, sorry.
It's
sorry.
okay. People, studio managers. But well, just thank you so much.
Yeah,
dude.
thank
You're a living
you.
you're a living legend.
You are so true. You are too. Anyway,
I
it's
love you.
great.
Thank you.
It's great. I think it's a wonderful job you're doing here.
Well,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Trade secrets.
I'm happy to have it. Trade secrets, ladies and gentlemen. Trade secrets. That's what we do. See that? We traded secrets. Anyway, how do I stop it? What do I say?